All right, well, this morning in the Daily Brew, we're starting off with kind of a recap of Halloween, one of the biggest Halloween parties, really, that there are. Heidi Klum went full Medusa for Halloween this year, covering herself in green scales and writhing snakes. Says she wanted to go really, really ugly and spent 10 hours in costume for her annual party. Look at that.
And are the snakes moving?
It looks like they are. And she did go really ugly, really over the top. I remember a few years ago, I think she was a peacock. Last year, it says she was a worm last year. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
Oh, I remember that one. That was a huge meme all over the internet.
Yes.
I'm also thinking if it was 10 hours to put that on, imagine kind of like having to stay at the party for hours and then trying to get all that makeup off. That would probably not be a fun process.
And can you imagine the pressure of being invited to this party too? Because then you have to try to equal this, maybe.
So did everybody dress for Halloween?
I went as a weatherman. That's what I said. I just put on my weather-looking hoodie and then was like kind of a dad.
If you saw Joshua on Halloween,
you
he
were
was
in
very
orange.
festive. You had orange shoes and an orange sweater. You're always very festive.
Yes.
Jacob, what did you go as?
I was Lightning McQueen. Very simple costume. All you had to throw on was the jacket, red shirt, and then put some eyes on a hat. It was easy.
Yes.
And then I ended up watching Cars that night, which was nice.
That is nice.
To kind of recap it all.
I went as Bella from Twilight, in the scene where she goes to prom and she has a broken leg. So it's kind of a niche costume.
Yeah.
Most people don't recognize it right off the bat. You have to explain a little bit.
But that's kind of cool sometimes too when you have like a costume that you kind of. Some people don't like. I know some people don't like wearing costumes where they have to explain what they are. But I think that's like kind of the conversation starter. If when you get to see someone you probably don't know, and then there's a whole conversation to be had about, oh, okay, that's what you are.
Absolutely. I remember we had one story recently about how the budget for Halloween costumes, I think the average was $400 for adults. Crazy. But when you see parties like this, these people, of course, they've got to spend a lot of their costumes.
I feel like the older we've gotten, like, I don't know if it's just like what I've been seeing this year, but it seems like Halloween kind of made a comeback. I don't know. It just seems like it was like, I felt like people weren't celebrating it as much, and I feel like this year I just saw a lot of people dressing up.
Yeah,
just in general.
People really got in the spirit this year, I would say.
I saw a lot more trick-or-treaters, which was really refreshing because I got a little bit worried because, you know, growing up, it used to be a big deal. And then the last couple of years after COVID, didn't really see anyone out, but we had a lot of people out this year, so.
Yeah, and what's like a little depressing is the street back home where I live on, we have no street lights, so we don't get a single trick-or-treater. I think one year, like, we bought all this candy, I think we got one, and we just handed them the whole bag. Like, here you go, take it.
Oh my goodness. Well, switching gears to another holiday, let's talk about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We're getting a sneak peek of some of the new balloons that are going to be flying over the streets of Manhattan on Thanksgiving. We got some volunteers that did test runs Saturday in New Jersey. It's the 99th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year. Do you guys have any favorites that you look out for every year?
I don't. I'm just always so worried about them flying away. Like that. I don't understand how they stay down. Like, they are huge. And I remember one year, like, it was like a very, very windy year, and I just remember just seeing them move back and forth. They're huge.
Is it a Thanksgiving Day tradition for you to watch the parade, or do you usually turn it on?
No.
See, we always do.
Really?
I typically turn it on, and then we will leave the dog show immediately after on, and then not watch it. It'll just be kind of in the background, so that's typically ours.
What, do you have a favorite?
I think the thing I get most excited about with the Macy's Day Parade is the Broadway show performances.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know when they announce the list or if it's a surprise, I don't remember, but it's always exciting to see which shows are going to be performing.
Yeah. Well, the balloons are, some of them are as tall as 3- and 4-story buildings. Again, you can see off the balloons, new and classic, at Macy's.com. And of course, you can always see them during the parade set for Thursday, November 27th. So that's, Thursday, okay, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's just one of those things. I think we just watch a lot of football. We don't really watch.
That's the big thing. You're either a Thanksgiving Day Parade family or you're not. But like when I was little, it was almost like Christmas morning to turn on the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Like I couldn't sleep the night before because I was so excited to watch it.
And it kind of reminds me of, like, for example, like, do you guys watch the New Year's Day Parade?
Yes.
The Rose Parade? See, that's something that even growing up near there, I've never been, and I still never wake up early enough to watch it live.
Yeah.
Like, but we can hear the planes going over our house, which is really cool, the B-52s. Awesome. But again, I never wake up to watch. Probably should. Well, fireworks and a dazzling drone show lit up the sky over Giza Saturday as Egypt celebrated the long-awaited opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Drones formed images of treasures from King Tut's tomb, including his golden mask, throne, coffin, ceremonial chariot, and even King Khufu's ship. That's, I will say that I'm okay, I'm not saying that's what it looked like at the Washington County Parade, or Washington County Fair, but it's still so cool to see it. I mean, did you go to the Washington County Fair this year?
I did, and then there was also that big drone show last year at Arkansas football that I vaguely remember. That was the coolest part about that game because I think we lost that one too.
Yeah, well, and I know that people are trying to some people, because of weather, whatever it may be, they're trying to they don't do as many fireworks. So it's still really cool to see. And
it is similar. I mean, that's a crazy sentence. I'm not trying to say the Grand Egyptian Museum is the same thing as the Washington County Fair, but they did both have great drone shows.
they did. And I remember how, I mean, we went. I was very surprised by the show. I was like,
it was impressive.
It was very
definitely.
impressive, and I'm really impressed now that they're starting to do this. And I remember at football games now, literally most major events, if they're trying to get rid of the fireworks or they're not trying to use fireworks, whatever it may be, this is a great way to see action in the sky like that.
Yes, very, very cool. Well, the gym's inauguration caps more than 2 decades of construction delayed by regional unrest and the pandemic, and showcases the king's expansive collection of treasures along with thousands of other ancient artifacts. And officials hope the museum not only preserves Egypt's treasures, but also strengthens calls for objects held abroad to be returned.
How many drones do you think that is?
Well, I mean, you see them. Remember at the Washington County Fair when the lights went off? You saw how many there were. I'm sure there are even more here because this is a big deal.
That's got to be, I would say, 1,000.
I feel like that would have to be
I
something
think
like
so. I think so. I think you underestimate just how many.
Oh, the
5,000 were
producer
told by
just
our
told us.
producer.
I was close, technically. I'm going to just say that.
I literally was thinking like 200. That's insane. 5,000 drones is insane.
Well, very cool that they are they're opening this, got it re-going, so we can see all those amazing artifacts too.
Anybody here been to Egypt?
No,
I haven't.
I would probably like to because they're having the total solar eclipse that's like 7 minutes of totality,
Really?
which is like unheard of. I think it's next year.
How long did we have last year for totality?
I think it was where I was. It was at least 2 minutes, 50 seconds. So imagine 7 minutes of it. That would be
insane.
awesome.
And not to change the subject to the eclipse, but I will never forget the feeling of totality. Just the feeling of how cold it was, the feeling of everything about it was insane. So to have that for 8 minutes, I couldn't.
Once in a lifetime. Where were you for the eclipse?
Mount Magazine.
Mount Magazine, yes.
Oh, one of the that was a very beautiful time. But yeah, and where were you?
Clarksville.
Clarksville.
So it was
Russellville. We had the best spots, I think.
Yeah.
And in the state, it seems like those are the best ones to be at.